Hey there and welcome back to the podcast. This is episode number 57. And today we're going to be taking a look at how to uncover and connect with your best self and how to bring that version of you more to the forefront of your experience. Because the thing is, we've all had moments in our life, right, where we're totally on fire. We feel completely relaxed, happy, we believe in ourselves, and it's like we're just completely in flow with life. But for most people, these moments are just fleeting. They don't happen anywhere near as often as they'd like. It can be just far too easy to get caught up with the general negativity and the demands of modern life, that we forget who we really are when we're in flow and we're being our best self. We lose connection with this best version of ourselves. So in this episode, we're going to be diving into this, and I want to take you through a process to help you uncover that you know is in there, but it maybe doesn't show its face anywhere near as often. So grab a cuppa or whatever you do when you're listening to your podcasts, and let's get started. Hey there and welcome to the Stress Less Living podcast. My name is Stephen Burns and I've been a practicing coach, trainer and hypnotherapist for 25 years. Each week I'll share easily digestible bite-sized ideas that you can immediately put into practice so that you can live a more harmonious and balanced life. Because life is challenging, but whatever we encounter, we always have a choice. We can take the easy routes or the hard routes, the low stress way or the high stress way. Well, the Stress Less Living podcast is about always looking for the easy routes in life, the low stress ways to accomplish your goals, get more of what you want, and ultimately live a happy and more effortless life. So if you're looking for the perfect antidote for the chaos of modern life, my friend, you are absolutely in the right place. So this is episode number 57, and today we're going to be taking a look at how to uncover and connect with your best self. And I also want to show you how you can really flesh the sense of this out and bring it more into your day-to-day life. I'm going to take you through a process that involves exploring your best self through 6 different layers. And by the end of this episode, you should have a pretty strong sense of this version of you. You'll have brought it into the foreground of your experience. And what I recommend you do is, as we go through these 6 layers, jot down some notes about your experience, because these notes can then become like triggers for you. Whenever you feel like you're losing connection with your best self, which is inevitable, it happens to all of us, these notes can remind you and just bring you back into that state of mind. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to mention before we go through these 6 layers is that there is actually no such thing as a best self. Now that sounds a bit contradictory, so let me explain. If you were to dissect a human being, I'm not exactly sure why you would want to do that, but anyway. But if you did, you wouldn't find a piece labelled best self. It's not a physical part of someone. It's a metaphor. It's something that we use, a concept that we use to describe what it's like when we're in flow. When all of our problems just temporarily disappear, we become connected with our innate resourcefulness as a human being, and life just feels easy. It feels effortless. We can be ourselves. We're relaxed. We're not afraid. We perform to the best of our abilities, and we're fully connected with the present moment. So through this process, it's not that you're uncovering a thing per se. It's a more case that you're tapping into a way of experiencing life, an optimal way of living. So with that said, let's go with this. Let's take a look at these 6 layers. So the first layer is where you consider the environments that bring out the best in you. So when you're at your very best as a human being, where are you? What specific environments tend to trigger that? Is it at work, or is it definitely not at work? Is it at home, or when you're out with friends? What environments bring out the best in you? And also, who brings out the best in you? You know, some people are like emotional vampires, aren't they? They just seem to suck the life out of you. But others are the opposite. They inspire you. They build you up. They see the real you. They're like catalysts that ignite something powerful inside you that allows you to be your best self and just be you. So who in your life does that? It might be someone from your past, or maybe it's someone in your life just now. Maybe it's a teacher or a coach, and they saw something in you that was special. It's like that famous scene from Star Wars when Obi-Wan Kenobi tells Luke Skywalker that the Force is strong in this one. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know what it's like for you, but just explore it and just bring to your attention those people in your life who really saw the best in you, that brought out the best version of you. Have a think about that. What was it that they saw? What did they bring out in you? So that's the first layer I want you to consider. When you're at your very best as a human being, where are you and with whom? What environments and what people tend to bring out the best in you? Then once you've considered that, move on to the next layer, and that is where I'd like you to turn your attention to your behaviour. So when you're at your very best, when you're in flow and nothing can stop you, what are you doing? What activities bring out the best in you? Some things just seem to be a great fit for us. So what are those things for you? Another thing you can consider here is your physiology, how you use your body when you're being the best version of you. When you're at your very best, how do you stand? How do you breathe? What's your posture like? And what about your facial expression? I guarantee that when you're in that sliver of space, when you're being uniquely you, you'll be using your body, your physiology in a very specific way. So I'd like you to explore that now. How are you using your posture? How are you using your physiology? And you can even try that on for size if you like. You can even parade up and down your living room if it's appropriate to do so in that physiology. And what you'll notice is as you try on that physiology, like trying on a new set of clothes, then you'll connect more with this best version of you. You'll start to feel it more in your experience. So for me, it's usually when I'm doing things like dancing or I'm out socialising with friends. That's the behaviours that I tend to be doing when I'm accessing my best self. Also, when I read, if it involves learning in some capacity, that almost always brings out the best in me. But what's it like for you? When you're at your very best, what are you doing? And how are you using your body? How are you behaving? What activities tend to stimulate that version of you? So another thing you can consider when you're at this place is when you're at your best, how do you feel emotionally? What sensations do you experience in your body? For me, I get this amazing sense of energy across my chest. There's a warm glow and a tingle that just flows through every part of me. It feels absolutely amazing. So what about you? When you're at your very best, how do you feel? What emotions do you experience? So that's the second layer. We now move on to the third layer, and that's where you take a look at your skills and abilities. And you want to ask yourself this question here. When you're at your very best, what skills do you naturally possess? Do you all of a sudden have amazing social skills? Are you more attentive than you normally are? Are you a great listener? Do you think fast? Can you organise exceptionally? What skills and abilities come to the forefront when you're at your very best? And do you have like a superpower, a skill that just seems to magically appear that you do better than most other people? My good friend Jules used to believe that everyone has a superpower, something that by virtue of their personality, their life experience, everything that they've gone through, it's led them to becoming exquisitely good at something. And often people can be very bashful about these things, they're very modest, but when you're at your very best, there's a good chance that you'll demonstrate that skill, that superpower, something that you're better at than most other people. So what might that be for you? I know when I'm at my best, I tend to become a better communicator. I listen to people a lot more attentively. I can spot things in them because I'm so fully in the moment and my focus is very much on the outside. It's external. Also, when I'm at my best, I tend to learn very quickly. So I pick up things fast and I love the learning process too. I just seem to make connections much quicker than I normally would, and my mind feels a lot sharper. But have a think, what's it like for you? So that's layer number 3. Then we move on to layer number 4. And that is what you believe and also what you value. And this is where it starts to get just that bit more powerful. So when you're at your best, what do you believe? What do you believe about yourself, your potential, your happiness, your place in the world, what you can achieve? And what do you believe about the world in general? So for me, when I consider this layer, the thing that comes out every single time is a belief that anything is possible. Anything can be learned, anything can be achieved as long as it's broken down. The world is your oyster, as the saying goes. When I'm at my best, I also believe that people are inherently good and we're all connected in some way. I tend to get a wee bit spiritual with the whole thing. But that's what comes up for me. It might be different for you. So when you're at your very best, when you're in that sliver of space, when you're just completely in flow, what do you naturally believe? And also, what do you value the most when you're in this space? When you're at your best, what's most important to you? Is it family? Is it a sense of connection? Is it being part of something? Is it personal growth, success, achievement, happiness, love, freedom, or something else? So for me, just to give you some ideas, the thing that comes up first and foremost is growth. That's maybe why I've gravitated towards a career in the personal growth industry, but it is very important to me, and that always comes to the forefront when I'm in that space, when I'm just being my best self, being the best version of me. Freedom is also important, freedom to explore new things, and connection. The people in my life are very important. I tend to choose close friends very carefully. But that's me. It might be different for you. So if you were to think about that, when you're at your very best, what is most important to you? What do you value the most? What rises to the top for you? So that's layer number 4. And of course, if you want to take more time considering these things, if you're frantically jotting down some notes, then do feel free to pause this episode just so that you've got the time and space to process. So, you're a busy person, you have a demanding job or a hectic lifestyle, and you've heard that meditation is a great way to reduce stress and create calm within the chaos that is your life. But you've tried meditation a few times, maybe with an app or from a book or a YouTube video, and it's just not really worked for you. And you've maybe jumped to the conclusion that meditation isn't for you. Well, if that's the case, I just want to say that it's most likely not your fault. A lot of the time when meditation doesn't really work that well, it's because you're missing a couple of key steps. And if you want to learn what those key steps are and some of the fundamentals of meditation, then I have a free video training that you can enrol on. If you want to check that out, I've included a link to it in the show notes and all the information that you need. So then we get to layer number 5, and that is the layer of identity. And this one is really quite simple. When you're at your very best, who are you? When you pull everything together that you've explored here, your environments, your behaviours, what you do and what you feel, what skills you possess, what your superpower is, what you believe and what you value, when you pull all of these together, who are you? What is the summary of all of that? And you might want to allow a single sentence to come from within. Often it can start with, I am, and then you fill in the blank, or I am the kind of person who. And the key thing is you want to allow this to present itself intuitively. You want to go by your feelings, go by your instinct. And it might even be something that you struggle to put into words. Maybe you just get a sense of it, and that's totally fine. Sometimes when we try to describe something powerful like this, the description just doesn't do it any justice. So if that's what's going on for you, that's perfectly fine. Just drop into that sense and connect with it. At this stage, some people also like to attach a metaphor or a symbol to it. So I've seen some people choose an animal. Someone I once knew said they were like a tiger. I've also heard people liken themselves to a puma, which I really like for some reason. If that's where your mind goes naturally, then just go with it. That's absolutely fine. That can often make it even more intense, even more real. So that's layer number 5. And then we move on to the final layer, layer number 6, and that is the layer of purpose. Also, again, if you do want to pause, if you want to take more time with this, I'm going through it fairly quickly, then please do pause the episode because some people want to spend some time investigating these things. So, layer number 6, and that is, as I mentioned, the layer of purpose. This is where you consider how you being your best self impacts the world around you and the people in it. When you're at your very best, when you're doing what you do, when you're being the person that you know that you can be, how does that positively impact the greater systems that you belong to? How does what you do go through you and beyond you? Because the thing is, nothing that we do happens in isolation. We're all part of a greater system. A person is part of a family is part of a community is part of a country is part of the world is part of the galaxy, and the galaxy, I'm sure you've guessed it, is part of the universe. So when you are doing you, so to speak, there will always be a ripple effect, even if you don't think there's going to be one. For example, if you were to go out and help 3 people today, nothing major, you just went out there and you made 3 people smile, the positive impact that would create wouldn't just stop with those 3 people. They're going to go back into their life and it will positively impact the people in their life. And then those people will go into their lives and their mood, their states will then positively impact the people in their lives. And the whole thing just ripples out. It's a bit like throwing a stone into a pond. When you do that, you get an immediate splash. But then shortly after, something amazing happens. It starts to ripple out in every direction. So that's happening all the time, every action that you take. And this, of course, can happen in a negative way, but when we're at our very best, we tend to be much clearer in our thinking. We tend to be much more honest with our intentions. So it can happen in a much more positive way. So when you're being you at your very best, what's your ripple effect? How does what you do affect the greater systems that you're part of? And just take some time to fully consider this. If you like, you can close your eyes and imagine what your ripple effect could be. You could allow an image or a vision to come to mind and just fully connect with any feelings or sensations that you get when you think about it. And of course, you can open your eyes and jot down some notes if you like, and you can use these notes as triggers, as little reminders whenever you need them, so that you can return quickly back to this beautiful connected space. So there we have it. That is the 6 layers. And if you've really gone for this and you've explored each of them in your imagination, then you should have a pretty strong sense of your best self right now. You'll have brought it from the background into the foreground so that you can experience it more right now. And like I said earlier, if you've taken down some notes, some insights that you got from each of the layers, keep those handy. Don't just stick them in a drawer and then forget about them. You've actually now got some triggers. These can be reminders of that best version of you. And whenever you feel like you need to reconnect with that you, that version of you, maybe you get a bit stressed or disconnected or caught up with the general craziness of life, which happens to us all, you can come back to these notes, these insights, and they can remind you of who you are when you're at your best, when you're fully in flow. You could even do that as part of a morning ritual if you like. You could quickly read through all of the key words in your journal that you jotted down. And this can set you up nicely for the day. It can be a lovely primer. So there we have it. In this episode, we've been exploring you at your very best in 6 different layers. So let's do a quick recap. First of all, we looked at the environment. So when you're at your very best, where are you and with whom? Then we moved on to the behaviour that you tend to exhibit when you're in this place. So when you're at your best, what do you do? What activities tend to stimulate that best version of you? And also, how do you use your physiology? What's going on with your movements? Do you have big open gestures? What's going on with your facial expression? How do you breathe? That's another really useful place to explore. And then we moved on to your skills and abilities. When you're at your very best as a human being, what skills naturally come to the fore? And also, do you have like a superpower, something that you do exquisitely, potentially better than many other people? And then we moved on to your beliefs and values. When you're at your very best, what do you believe? What do you believe about your potential, about your ability to succeed? And what do you believe about the world in general? Do you believe that anything is possible? That the world is your oyster? Or maybe something else? And what's most important to you? What do you value the most? Is it connection? Is it growth? Is it success? Is it achievement? Is it happiness? Or is it something else? And the key is just to notice what naturally presents itself from within. And then layer 5 was your identity. When you look at all of these things that you've explored, when you summarize all of them, who are you when you're at your best? And it can often be useful to summarize that in a single sentence. So you can say something like, when I'm at my best, I am, and then you fill in the blanks. And if nothing comes to you, that's totally fine. If you just get a sense, a feeling, then amazing. Just drop into that feeling and connect with it as much as you possibly can. You might even also allow a metaphor or a symbol or maybe even an animal to present itself. If that's where your mind goes, that's perfectly fine. Just go with the flow. And then finally, we looked at layer 6, and that is a sense of purpose. It might seem like the things that we do happen in isolation, but that's not what happens. That's not reality. Everything we do will have some kind of impact on the greater systems that we belong to. And when you're at your best, you will have a positive ripple effect. So when you're considering this place, this layer, what could your positive ripple effect be when you're at your very best? How does what you do go through you and also beyond you? So that is the 6 layers. If, by the way, you want more information on this process, what I just took you through there is something called neurological levels, very catchy title, which was created by a guy called Robert Dilts. So you definitely want to check out his work. He is fantastic. He's an NLP guy, but he's also a bit of a magpie and he draws from lots of different sources. I think he's fantastic and his material's amazing. So that is us for this week. Hope you enjoyed this episode. A little bit different this time, more of an experience for you. If you did enjoy this, I would love it if you could like or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. And of course, if you're feeling especially generous, if you could leave me a review, that would be fantastic. It really does help get the word out there. And the last thing I'd like to mention before we finish up for this episode is I'd like to encourage you to take this sense of you at your very best into the rest of your week and see where that takes you. So enjoy that. Thanks once again for listening, and I'll speak to you in the next episode.